Thank you. I rise in strong support of H.R. 4704, the Advancing Research to Prevent Suicide Act. I was proud to join my friend, Congressman McAdams, in introducing this legislation, and I thank him for his leadership and his efforts to reduce suicide rates. H.R. 4704 directs the National Science Foundation to support multidisciplinary research to discover the root causes of the growing suicide epidemic across the United States. The Advancing Research to Prevent Suicide Act will work to address suicide from all angles. The research authorized under this bill will look at social and economic factors, the use of technology, and the stigma associated with mental health conditions. Madam Speaker, just this past week, I participated in a suicide prevention roundtable organized by my office to hear from local community leaders and stakeholders about the ongoing efforts to prevent suicide among youth and veterans and stop suicide contagions from spreading. I left the meeting encouraged by the ongoing efforts in my community, but also left knowing that there's still much to be done. I want to provide my colleagues with some raw data to give you a full picture about the scope of the crisis in our country and in my home state of Ohio. The National Center for Health Statistics and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released data ranking suicide as the 10th most common cause of death among Americans of all ages in 2017. Between 1999 and 2017, the suicide rate increased by 33% in the United States. Nationally, the veteran suicide rate is 1.5 times the rate of non-veteran adults, with 6,139 veterans dying from suicide in 2017 alone. Closer to my district, according to a report published by the Northeast Ohio Youth Health Survey, between August 2017 and March 2018, the suicide rate among Stark County youth aged 10 to 19 rose to more than 7 times the national rate and 11 times the 2011 to 2016 Stark County rate. Furthermore, between 2000 and 2016, suicide rates increased by 36% in the entire state of Ohio. Personally, 3 of my own college football teammates have taken their own life in the past 12 months alone. We all know we have a mental health crisis in this country. But for me and for my constituents, the suicide problem has impacted far too many close to home, as seen by the suicide rates in Stark County and the state of Ohio. Too many times I've met with a group of constituents to discuss an international trade or veteran-related policy issue, but often the biggest problem on their mind is the growing suicide threat. In 2018, a high school near my district suffered from what CDC calls a suicide contagion, when 6 students killed themselves within a 6-month time frame. I sincerely believe that if we want to make a dent on the issue at hand, we need to be more proactive in finding the causes of suicide clusters and suicide contagions. Our children, our veterans, and our neighbors cannot wait much longer. It is imperative that we dig in and put in the work to find the roots of this crisis. The more we know about the fundamental causes, the better equipped we will be as a country to tackle the problem head on, and that is what this bill does. Thank you again to Congressman McAdams, Chairwoman Johnson, and Ranking Member Lucas for bringing this bill to the House floor today. I'm encouraged by the bipartisanship already shown on this initiative, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to see this bill signed into law. I encourage all my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman from Utah is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have no further requests for time, so I defer to my colleague from Ohio if he wants to close or has any other requests for time.
I'm prepared to close.
Gentleman from Utah reserves.
Thank you.
And from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I again rise in support of H.R. 4704, the Advancing Research to Prevent Suicide Act. Suicide was the 10th leading cause of death in the United States in 2017 and the 2nd leading cause of death among people ages 10 to 34. For our nation's veterans, it is an epidemic. We lose 17 veterans in America a day to suicide. This bill will support basic research at the National Science Foundation that will inform better interventions and improve their outcomes. I again would like to thank Congressman McAdams for his work on this bill. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman